Hi friends, it's Ashley and welcome back to the channel and to the start of another reading vlog. So in today's video we're going to be reading a recently released romantasy book that is one of the books that is on my 10 most anticipated romantasy books of the year. And that is Wings of Life by Meghan Le Fay. And so I'm really excited to get into this. First, I just have to say, the cover of this book and the edges are just gorgeous. And so according to the inside flap of this, our main female character is sent off to an enemy kingdom to marry the High Dane's son, but her real purpose for being there is to spy on that enemy kingdom and to discover their weaknesses. However, she then meets a certain weapon master and she starts to fall in love with him, and she ends up learning some secrets that include magic and a dragon. And so now she is kind of feeling conflicted. And so now she has to decide between fulfilling her purpose as a spy and returning to the family who cast her aside, or the bond that awakens who she truly is. And so without further ado, I'm going to go hop into this and I'll be back with my first thoughts once I've read some. I just read the prologue and I have so many questions. Hi, so it's been a few days. It's now Sunday, May 31st, which is the last day of May, which is crazy. Tomorrow is June, but I have made quite a bit of progress in Wings of Life. I am now on chapter 20, page 225. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. I am completely invested in the story and the characters and the world at this point in the book. And one of the things I've really been enjoying so far is the world building. And the world building is definitely the thing that is distinguishing this book from other fantasy romance, romantic fantasy books out there. And I feel like nowadays there's so many romantasy books coming out that some of them can kind of start to sound the same. But this one definitely distinguishes itself from the others. And a large part of that is definitely from the world building in here. And the world building in here is strong right from the very beginning. So before you even start the book, the first beginning pages, you have this moon phase page, and then you have different terms from the cultures that are in this book. And so just from that stuff, right from the beginning, you can tell the author put a lot of care and thought into her world and the people that inhabit the world. And so far I found it really fascinating learning about the different cultures of the people in here. So you have our main female character, Saray's people, but then you also have the guy who she's betrothed to of the enemy kingdom. That you have their people who have a whole different culture. And one of the things that both their cultures have are dragon myths, but their myths differ a lot. So Suray's people, the dragons are a thing of the past, whereas her betrothed's people, the dragons are very much a part of the present. And in their culture, every person at a certain age ends up being called by the dragons. So you meet the dragons, and a lot of times you end up getting this thing called a blessing, which is what the magic system in this book revolves around. And this magic and the blessings seem to be very wide-ranging. For example, people use them to make color-changing garments, to make water skins that never empty. At one point, Suray visits a tea shop where the person has magic that allows them to blend the perfect cup of tea for you. And at the point where we're at in the story, Suray has met the dragon, and so she has gotten certain abilities from that, but we're still very much in the stage of the book where we're exploring those, and so there's still a little bit of a mystery. And so that part of the book has been a lot of fun. And then kind of going off the dragon history and stuff that's been going on with Suray, there are little blurbs before each chapter. Here's one here. And these are from the private diary of Jairus, Dragonbound. And so those have been very enlightening, and I like how they are telling us things that are soon probably going to come into play. And then speaking of Suray, I'm really liking her as a character so far. She is strong, but she's not overpowered. And she's very much in the situation she is right now. She is in the underdog situation. And so I find myself very much like cheering for her to like show these people what she's made of, because they all very much underestimate her. And she's also at a disadvantage because of growing up in a different culture that had different values. For example, in her homeland, women are seen pretty much as just homemakers, but in the enemy kingdom's lands, women are seen more as equals to men, and so they can do more things, such as join the army. And so Suray now, she is expected as the betrothed to the heir of these people to have certain skills. And one of those skills being the ability to fight and protect herself. And so now she is trying to learn this whole new thing that these people have been learning for like the entirety of their lives. And so Suray's chapters are from first-person perspective, and then in addition to her chapter perspectives, we also get chapter perspectives from her betrothed. And his chapters are interesting because you don't get them all the time, you just get them sometimes. And also, as it says on the inside flap, while he is intended to be her betrothed, she actually ends up falling in love with the weapon master. We have met the weapon master, and it's interesting, we don't get chapter perspectives from him, but we get chapter perspectives from her betrothed, which kind of makes me think, what is the greater meaning of his chapter perspectives? Because we do through his chapter perspectives, we get to see things that we wouldn't get to see from Suray's chapter perspectives. So that is very interesting and enlightening. But also at the same time, I feel like there's a bigger reason for his chapter perspectives that hasn't been revealed yet. But back to the weapon master for a moment, because we have met him and he is so grumpy, and at first he wants nothing to do with her. But they're also like undeniably physically attracted to each other, but they do try to fight that attraction in the beginning. But at the part where I'm at in the book, they have given into that attraction a little bit, and so now we have like kind of a forbidden romance vibe going on, which is a lot of fun. And then in terms of the romance, there has also already been some spice. So there's been a little bit of spice between Suray and the grumpy weapon master, but also at the beginning of the book there was a little bit of spice, which I wasn't expecting. So at the beginning of the book, Suray is actually betrothed to someone else who's from her kingdom, and so she's expecting to marry him, and so they already have a relationship, and so there was some spice there. And I wasn't expecting it, but I do see like the spice is used as a way to like show their relationship and how she feels about him. And so that spice is there, it's brief, it's used as a purpose, and so it doesn't feel like it's just thrown in there, because that's when I have a problem with spice, was if spice is just like unnecessarily put into a book. And so like while that spice did surprise me, it makes sense that it's there because it is serving a purpose by being there. And then in addition to the world building, into the romance, there's also some politics stuff going on too. And so there are some wars going on between nations, some tension between them, and actually in the beginning, in the prologue, we get to see like a battle that is currently ongoing. So the prologue is told from the point of view of a different character that is not Suray or her betrothed, and it's actually told from the point of view of her brother, which I thought was very interesting. And that prologue did definitely draw me into the book and pulled me right in and left me wanting more and wanting to read more. And so, like, with all these different elements going on, the romance, the politics, the world building, there's like never a dull moment in here. I'm always interested in something. And I think those things are also well balanced. Like, nothing feels overpowering. Like, the world building doesn't feel info dumpy. The romance doesn't overwhelm the world building or the politics. Everything is mixed together well. So yeah, those are all my thoughts at the moment. I am just excited to carry on because I have so many questions I need the answers to, and I want to know more about the dragons and Saray's connection to them, because so far we've been like teased like bits of that, but we're still in the dark about some of it. So I really want to know more about that, and also I want to see more of the romance develop as well. Hi, so it is some hours later. It's now around 6 o'clock at night, and I have made it to chapter 26, page 304. And I am just having such a good time with this. I'm hooked, and all I want to do is read this. But my eyes are feeling a little tired, and I do have to clean up my messy kitchen and do some other little chores things. But I found I am lacking motivation to do so. So I did go ahead and I used one of my Audible credits to actually buy the audiobook of this to give myself some motivation. I'm gonna start listening to this on audio. So hopefully that will help me get some much needed cleaning done while also still being able to listen to my book. Hi, so it has been a few days since we last spoke, and since then I have read more and things have happened in my book. Horrible things and wonderful things have happened. So I'm now on chapter 37, page 408, which means I have a little less than 100 pages left because this is a little under 500 pages. And so there was a twist in here and it got me, it tricked me. I can't even like be mad about it because it was just like well done. But also like because of that twist, like there's things now that like make more sense. Some things have clicked into place. The romance has ramped up a bit more. There has been more steam. There's been more cuteness, more angst. And we've also learned more about Saray's powers, which are just like really cool. They're awesome. And where I'm at now in the book, like it's all chaos. Things have exploded. There's so much going on, so much excitement, so much dread on my part. I'm afraid to read like these last 100 pages because I don't know what's gonna happen. And since it's like the first book in a series, it could very well end on an awful cliffhanger. So I'm bracing myself. But at the same time, I do very much want to know what's gonna happen next. So I am just gonna go jump back into this right now, and I'll be back with my final thoughts once I finish this. Something is going like this. I don't like this at all. I just finished in the last line of the book. So it's the next day. I did finish this last night, and the last 100 pages of this, they were just so good. They were full of action, emotion, and heart-pounding moments, and within those last 100 pages, my heart was shattered, and then it was put together again, and then it was chipped away at again. And I especially really liked like the last line of this book. I thought it was very well done because it sets things up for season 2, and also the line just like made me go, oh, like, tell me more, give me more right now. And speaking of the second book, it has already been announced. So it's called Scales of Flame, and it's coming out this November, November 17th, so that's not that far away, which makes me happy because I'll definitely be reading book 2. And I especially need to know more about the dragons and also like the plot line that is set up near the end of this book. And it sounds like it's going to be awesome, so I am excited to see that unfold in the next book. One of my favorite things about this book was definitely the world building. It's just so intricately crafted. You have the dragons, which while they do feel a little similar to dragons in other fantasy novels such as Fourth Wing or Aragon, there's also some things and lore about them that make them very unique to this book as well. And similarly, the people in the world of this book also have cultures that are very fleshed out. And so while I was reading it, I felt like I was right there with them in their world and experiencing their culture. And then another aspect of this book that I really enjoyed was the romance. So the romance between Saray and the love interest is just so tension-filled and full of angst. And it very much starts off as an enemies to lovers vibe, but then gradually evolves into a he'll burn down the world for her and she'll burn down the world for him. And I just loved that vibe. And so their romance overall was a lot of fun, though there were moments when it gave me so much anxiety. But seeing where they at in their relationship by the end of this book, it was definitely worth it. And in addition to the romance, the friendship and found family vibes in this book were also very strong as well, and I loved those. They're just so heartwarming. In particular, Saray's Wrong, her crew that she learns how to fight with and that she trades with every day. I particularly loved the friendship that developed between all of them. I really liked all of the characters of that group. They definitely grew on me and found their way into my heart by the end of this book. And in addition to them, Saray also formed some friendships with some other people in the castle as well that are also heartwarming. In particular, she forms a friendship with one of the cooks in the castle, and I just like loved their interactions. Just seeing them bond over a certain thing was just so heartwarming and cozy, and that's the thing I like about this book is that yes, there's lots of action and exciting and intense things happening, but it also makes time for like calmer, cozier moments as well. And I'm the type of reader where I appreciate those moments. Like, I really enjoy the exciting moments, but I also like when characters have downtime and we get more cozy moments. And this book has that, and in particular, Saray indulges in some cozy hobbies. Those scenes just made me feel a sense of peace and calm and like made my heart happy. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I'm giving it a 4.5. I feel like it was really like the last 100-ish pages that pushed it to a 4.5. Up to that point, it was sitting at like a high 4, but the last 100 pages of this book definitely made the book. And so I'm giving it a 4.5. So those are my thoughts on this book. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you are a fan of dragon fantasy and romantasy books. Let me know down below if you read this one, what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!